Also, mit mir hier ist Daniel Fenn.
All right, here with me is Daniel Fenn, highly renowned designer of velomobiles and designer of the most successful velomobiles of the past years. And we want to talk a bit about his newest creation, or rather his newest double creation, the A9 and the M9. Daniel, you're asked why another model. What's your response? Well, my previous designs had open wheel wells, and I wanted to build one with enclosed front wheels, because closed wheel wells make for significantly higher stability in the wind. That's the main reason. However, at the same time, the A9 is much taller, wider and higher compared to the Alpha 7. Does that have to be that way?
Muss das so sein?
I would say that in order to fit the tallest people in, it has to look like it does. For me, the goal with the A1 was size. You know, I developed the DFXL, and what happened was that people were hitting the shell with their knees or feet. They had to change to shorter cranks. So I created the A9 in such a way that it doesn't matter which size cranks you're using. It may sound weird, but it can be done. And the most important thing in the design are the proportions of future riders. Even at the same overall height, proportions can differ up to 15 centimeters.
Okay.
All right, so that means essentially the A9 is a stable velomobile in the wind because of the closed wheel wells, which also means that... No, I have to interrupt you here. Wind stability has little to do with the overall size of the velomobile, but with the closed wheel wells. Yes, but only insofar as it concerns the trail. If you use wheel covers, for example, then the steering point at the wheel moves forward about 20 to 30 millimeters. And because of that, there's more pressure in the rear than in the front, or vice versa. That's not the point. In any case, it has strong impact on wind stability. Would you remove the wheel cover, it would become more stable. This is just one aspect. There are so many parameters that could be changed to achieve greater stability. With the Alpha 7, didn't you use negative indent on the rear section with a narrow fin at the tail end to improve wind stability, right? I have made it longer to improve stability. That is another one of these parameters, creating a counterpressure. Well, I don't know everything. In my work, theory plays an important role, something most people will probably not expect from me. With theory, you can get extremely far in the field of aerodynamics. You need to think long and hard and keep thinking until you get some result, and then think more, and then do some testing. With the DF, I wanted to develop a very stable velomobile, but I failed completely. I was coming from the Evo K, and the DF was rather similar, though the steering was much less nervous, but not really good. Now, the current version 3 is okay, in fact, a copy of the Alpha 7 steering. However, steering and suspension is just one of the many parameters, and not a very important one either. Until the M9 appeared, the Alpha 7 was the least wind-sensitive model. But at the same time, the M9 is also the tallest, which seems to not make any sense, but it does make sense. I could explain it in all detail why it can be large and stable at the same time.
Good.
I'm curious as to why you came out with the M9 so soon after the introduction of the A9. Is it because for most of the ordinary folks like myself who are smaller than 190, the A9 is too big? Oh, the A9 is way too large for people your height. It was built for people taller than 2 meters. It was built for, excuse the term, abnormally tall people, which means in particular for those with extremely long legs or very long thighs. And that is precisely where the problems arise in the DFXL or the DF, because these people hit the shell with their knees. In this regard, I've given much extra space, so there's no limit as to leg length. No matter how tall a rider is, he will never touch the shell with the knees.
Okay.
The M9 in comparison would then be for folks not as tall, but still with fairly long legs or large feet, right? Exactly. The M9 is pretty similar to the A9, maybe a slightly different knee angle, but would always be sufficient space for anyone who fits in overall. However, the M9 does have an issue like all its predecessors, and that is crank length. For most, it won't be an issue, but it could be for some. With the A9, on the other hand, it will never become a problem. So, with the A9, you could choose whatever you want. The cranks would always fit. Well, from 190 millimeter crank size with shoe size 52, it could be difficult. We will soon fit Jimte into the A9 here in my workshop, and then we'll see what works. We did measurements, of course, and the A9 has 5 to 7 centimeters more at the cranks than a DFXL. But that is with the perfectly low seating position. With the DFXL, you could sit much higher up, what we call the submarine lookout. And that doesn't work with the A9. At some point, there is a limit at the shoulders. You cannot go higher because of the cockpit rim? Yes, but that is on purpose. One should not sit higher. The head gets into the wind and you'll lose 2 to 3 kilometers. As you know, I've developed a new hood, which requires a specific head position for best view, namely the exact right one. A9 could be ordered from the factory in Romania, right? Yes, you can. For several months now, actually. To my knowledge, only 2 to 3 have been delivered to customers so far, right? Yes, just 2 and my own. The pre-series models, so to say. And the M-series, will these models be coming out soon? Yes. Actually, a few have been delivered already. That's why it took longer with the A9, because we immediately began working on the smaller M9, here and in Romania, in order to give us a flying start. Both are being produced in Romania in parallel. We have more than one set of molds for the M9 in Romania now.
Okay. Dann sagen wir herzlichen Dank.
Many thanks, Daniel, for taking the time to speak with us today. Looking forward to the next time.
Bis zu einem andermal.